And so, as I climbed up through life the hard way, I don't know, we all have different ways of being and how we got there. I don't know my first origin story or how I got to be where I was. Probably in the same sense as, climbing, evolving. And what I know is that in a past life, I was a little crab, and a hawk swooped down to take my life, to eat me, so that way she could preserve hers. And it is written that we shall not eat anything of living blood. Like, we're not supposed to murder. It doesn't matter. We all have a choice of, things to eat. And sometimes we have to go outside. What is in order to survive. In this world, the meek have always kept going, and they're wondering why certain creatures die off or receive extinction is because they were eating of what was living. Anything that is a murderer in this world will receive extinction. That's just the truth of it. And it's a process. So in one life, I was a crab and I ate of the dead. In order to receive nourishment to keep going. I was a scavenger. I still am a scavenger. I eat what is already dead. That's with the plants, and I understand I've had to grow because I have, eaten things that I shouldn't have been eaten, and I received sickness because of it. So now I evolve from that. I talk to the trees, I talk to, everything around me, and I apologize, and I do my best to not trespass. To not trespass and to not take others' life away to preserve my own. However, eating of the dead still has its consequences because you absorb what was. You see what was. And plus, I fell into this dead world. And I also received a false mother that, of course, was cursed with bringing forth life because she took another. And that's just why I had to bring forth the life I did, because I was cursed to replace what I had taken. We all do. We all do. We replace what we take in one way or another. And instead of giving a true mother, I was giving one that was outside the heart of Christ to learn my hard lessons, because a true mother is of the heart of Christ. She is one that is true to her form. Those ones here that are just incubators are not true mothers. They're just ones that bring forth life because they are cursed beings. And, they're the ones over this world right now. And of course, they're the ones that nitpick when you don't wash your hands. And that there's also a father that's put over us that, punishes us over, that we don't line up to his pride and ego. But if the true mother and the true father of what is, the most holy of being, is not that. They're not about pride and ego or politics, and the true mother is not about her pretentious rules. She doesn't set herself above others and say she is better because her house is cleaner, or because no, she's not that type. She doesn't think she's better because of the clothes she wears. And in this world it's primitive because it's of the dead, and that is why Adam and Eve fight. But they have a possibility of choosing to be that higher being. All do have a choice of being that higher being. That's why we shouldn't worship or praise, but we should seek that higher self. When we worship another, we're doing it in pride and ego and thinking just because we, chant a name that it's somehow going to elevate us, when it's not. So many, when they're calling upon a God or a Lord, it's not of the heart of Christ, it's not of love, but of ego, and they will receive their Lord, Queen, King. They'll receive that because they put that above themselves. So they'll receive that rod because they're not trying to elevate to their higher self. And that was my journey when I went to sleep, when I closed my eyes. It's just like I'm trying to, because I was told that I was going to receive a hard truth, and I did, because I know that I can't return to my higher self because I got a bullet in my head. But I embrace myself because I love myself. I was like Icarus. I flew too close to the sun. It wasn't that I rejected heaven. It's just I had high ambitions and I got in trouble for it. So, I will return. I will elevate. So I'm not afraid of that. I'm going to elevate to, where I was. I just learned my lesson. And, if I had not seen that, then I would have continued on the same path and made the same mistakes. But now that I see that, I'm like, okay, I can't force that. I can't I can't undo what already has been done. Just be a light to others. And that doesn't mean they'll see the light. That doesn't mean they'll, be warmed by it. But that just means I'll be a light unto others. Like I rise and be a light. And, just now I'm starting to rise every day and be a light. It's not easy. It's not easy rising. In this world, it's easy to elevate yourself and put yourself above others and puff yourself up in self-righteousness and say, oh, well, I have this job, I'm better, or I wear these clothes, I'm better, or I have a car like this, I'm better, or I only eat plants, I'm better, or I only do this because I'm better, or I vote for this political party because I'm better, or I keep a certain house, I'm better. But that's not the truth. You can't elevate yourself above others. You must rise. You just must rise. It's not about putting yourself above others. It's about rising in heart, mind, body, spirit, and soul. And being the best version of yourself you can, embracing the truth of what was, learning from that history, and knowing that even in good intentions, that doesn't mean we're doing anything really good, and that will fall. because that's a part of pride. There's nothing wrong with helping others. It's just you can't see someone that's suffering and try to turn them into something they're not. You can give aid, but you can't force that person. You can't reprogram them. They are who they are. When they are ready to rise, then they shall rise. But if not, then you can't go in there and say, I'm going to give you heaven, because that will strike you down. You'll give all your resources to someone that'll just burn it up. They must learn to rise. They must learn to get up and have self-discipline and seek what is good for them. You can just help them, but you can't give your resources away. In this world, the reason why there is the system into place where there's homelessness and classes and stuff like that, because they have elevated, they don't rise, but they elevate themselves above others in classes, races, politics, all that. And I'm starting to see. And then there's those ones that think if they walk without nothing and crucify themselves in causes, that's going to elevate them, and it's not. We're all worthy of abundance. So sitting there walking, poor in this world and giving everything away is pointless. So I understand that. And I've had to learn, that's what it's like. There is one that is, helping me through love, but I must learn my lessons before I receive my abundance. And, I'm thankful and grateful for that. It has been a hard journey. Really hard. In order to receive that, because there's a programming around in this world, because they want to keep this world as it is. It's a false mother and a false father. And I had to be raised by that simply because I did not heed the instructions of the Heavenly Father, and I was without protection, and I received basically a bullet through my brain and fell.